Hey, Dad! Dad, Ethan's here. Cole, what is your dad doing? Don't even ask.
Today's episode of Glenn's Retro Show is brought to you by DNA Dimension Designs, the best custom retro gaming decals in the game, period. Also now available, Glenn's Retroware, t-shirts, jackets, mugs, carrying bags, and lots of other items. Show your support for Glenn's Retro Show and wear something with style. Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on today's edition of Glenn's Retro Show. Today's episode is really going to be mostly a pickup video and show donations. It's just recently I've been getting donations and I wanted to make sure that people got credit for stuff they sent in. But also at the end of this video, I'll show you another one of my projects that will most likely be my next video coming out. So make sure to stay tuned to the end to see what project that's going to be. Okay, so let's get started. I have quite a few things here, so I don't know where to start. I'll just go over here and pick something out. Let's see what we have here first. Okay, the first item I have here, actually I won off eBay. It was a non-working Entex Stargate. And you can see by the photograph here, the battery compartment was completely corroded. And I took the whole unit apart and it's already been cleaned up and it's now a working unit. I got this literally for $20 shipped. And it's a pretty fun game. It's huge. You can see that here. I'll do a video on the this unit here, review, as well as the cleanup and repair of it. But that was a pretty good deal I thought I got off of eBay. The next item is something I've been trying to get for a while. It's a Tommytronic Tron. This also was a non-working unit on eBay. This was $12 shipped. And I've already cleaned it up here. I'll do a video of this being disassembled and fixing the battery contacts. Now this one, the battery contact had corroded, well they were bad to begin with, but one had corroded so bad it snapped off. I'll even show you how I repaired that. So all the contacts in here are original and functional. And one of the things in the back, which is neat, this is actually translucent. I'm not sure if it comes through too well on the camera there, but you can see there's like little circuitry. And I always thought that that was part of the actual game, and they made it look like they did, so it was kind of neat. But it turns out it's just cardboard. All the circuitry is here in the front, and this nice design here, Tron's World, it actually even says World of Tron. It's just a piece of cardboard, but it's still nice. The only thing wrong with this one, honestly, is there is a crack in the screen here. Nothing I could do about that. For $12, I can't really complain. It's still in pretty good shape, and it works, which is pretty awesome. So the next item I got is actually for the TI-994A computer. You can actually get this at the arcadeshopper.com. But actually I got this one from a forum member, and it's called the Final Grom 99. Now this is a flash card that takes either full size or a micro with an adapter, and it lets you play TI-994A command modules. Now the TI-994A is actually the grandfather of the ColecoVision, the Coleco Atom, some MSX computers. The graphics chip and architecture were used in them. And they all came from the TI, which just shows you from 1978 to 79 when this machine was released, how advanced the graphics was in this machine. But in doing so, had to get a Final GROM 99. Now there's also a Final ROM 99, but the Final GROM, it's in the name. The TI had some special graphics read-only memory, so some games wouldn't work without having those GROMs, and this emulates those GROMs. So it's a really good little cartridge here. I'm glad to have it. I can pretty much play any TI cartridge now that I want. And also, with something like this, sometimes you need more memory. Computers back in the day, 4K, 8K, 16K was pretty common. 32, 48K were not so common. They were kind of expensive back in the day. Now I do have a huge TI peripheral expansion box that is probably what Indiana Jones could have used in his last movie to escape that nuclear blast. It's built that tough. But to plug that thing in, hook it up to play some games is a bit of a pain. So I got one of these here, which is a 32K memory expansion. Now this is also attached to a speech synthesizer. The TI was also one of the very first machines to offer speech. But now instead of having this huge box connected, I have this little memory cartridge here that'll let you run 32 and 48K games. Now what's kind of weird is the speech synthesizer doesn't pass through 5 volts that this particular thing needs. They include that little barrel jack back here to plug it in. There's a very simple hack, and I'm going to do a video on this and in the memory, on how to hack your speech synthesizer to pass through the 5 volts and not requiring an external power supply for the memory expansion. So kind of neat. I'm kind of glad to have that as well. But let's see what else we got over here. Okay, the next thing I was able to pick up on eBay very cheap was an Atari joystick keychain. Now it's actually a working joystick keychain. It has asteroids and millipede on it. I do believe there's a dongle that's the pigtail off the back of the joystick, and it runs off a couple of batteries. So it doesn't have like tons of games on it, it's just 2 games. For the price, I think I paid $8 for it shipped. I wasn't going to pass that up. I also have, they show it on the back here, they have a joystick with also Yard's Revenge on it, and a paddle. I actually do have the paddle already. I have one more to complete that set. And I saw these very cheap in the store. I never actually played these as a kid, but the Super Impulse kind of makes a neat thing, so I just picked these up here. They were at Walmart for I think $8, and I picked them up. So one is a electronic football and an electronic baseball. Boom. So again, I never played these. A lot of my friends had the full-size ones back in the day, and you played for a few minutes, but I figured they're kind of neat, and I like Super Impulse's stuff, so I figured I'd pick them up. Now, one thing I also won off of eBay was something else I wanted for a long time. Entex made some good games back in the day. I usually had Bandai or Tommytronic. I didn't have anything that was Entex, so I'm slowly finding out the quality of the work that they do. And here I have a Galaxian 2. And this is actually part of a 2-part thing that I won. So this was a freebie, actually. It didn't cost me anything. It is missing the battery door on the back, so maybe I can probably figure out my 3D printer. I can print a door for this thing. It's filthy, but it does work. So just a neat little thing. Now, when I got this, a buddy of mine, Willie, over at Arcade USA,
pretty awesome.
so I won this, and he happened to have something. He goes, Glenn, I want to send you something for a show donation. And I was flattered. I said, sure. So Willie was very kind over at Arcade USA, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. I watch Willie quite a bit. He actually sent me a box to go for my Galaxian 2. It's even got the styrofoam inserts in it. So that's really neat. It's always nice to display the product, but it's also nice to have the box if you can, and I did not have it. So Willie, Arcade USA, thank you very much, man. This is great. Thank you for the donation. Let's see what else we have over here. Well, I might as well show you this here. That Galaxian 2 I said it was a freebie. It was an eBay win, and it came with something else that I paid $14 for. And it's not working, but it's going to be soon. This is something, again, you see as a kid in the store, and I was fascinated by it. But I just never picked one up. It wasn't the cheapest thing, but it's a Microvision. Now these things are pretty neat. They're pretty historic as well. These were the very first portable gaming systems that were cartridge based. Believe it or not, This shell out here is a cartridge. It actually pops off. Not the easiest thing to get off though, but it does pop off. So let's try this on this side maybe. There we go. There's one. And then the other side doesn't want to come off. I guess you have to get them just the right time together. There we go. Okay. That was not fun. But I was trying to say, they're actually cartridges. So if you see right here, I'm bring it up to the camera a little better. You can see it's actually a cartridge. So you would buy, you know, your Microvision. It came with a breakout style game, and you would buy these cartridges, which I'm hoping come up easier than that thing just did. But you can see here, the issues with these are they were pretty kind of advanced for the time. Milton Bradley was very much into video games back in the day, and they actually made a voice recognition module called the MBX expansion system for the TI. It was one of the first machines to have voice recognition for games. But this has a potentiometer here for paddle. And it's got a touchpad here that can be programmed for pretty much anything. It has a little touchpad in here. But the reason these things go, I mean, they're very hard to find in working condition because of what's called screen rot. And the LCDs in here go bad. Basically, it leaks out the crystals and they don't work anymore. But there's a guy over at Atari Age who says he's going to be offering replacements for about $20 a piece. So for that alone, it was worth picking this up for the $14 I got it for, with Alien Raiders on it. There we go. Boom. So a little bit of review on this when I get that screen replaced on here and try this thing out. I played it a couple times as a kid, but I don't have a working one. I do know this one functionally works other than the screen. When you put batteries in it, you hear the sound. So the screen is just not working in it. And that's pretty common. So with that along, I saw another eBay that I couldn't pass up for $20. That was a complete in-box unit. This actually has the Blockbuster game on here, and also another game, Slots, which is a slot machine style game. But you can see the box here, you can see all the artwork. Again, the same thing is going on with this one. It has power, it will play sounds, but the screen doesn't work. So I'll be getting 2 screens from Atari Age when they're available, and do a review on getting these guys fixed. And this also came with the Star Trek Phaser Strike cartridge. So no tape included there. So I'm dying to try this thing out and see how it works and get it all cleaned up. They're both pretty dirty, it's all pretty dirty. But I kind of like also the aspect of cleaning it and repairing them and getting them back to where they used to look. That's very fun for me. And what else do we have over here? We have actually another show donation. I'll pull over here. I actually got a couple of things. My friend over at the Atari 5200 podcast, David, had sent me, I have an Atari 400. I don't have an Atari 800 right now, but I still kind of cool to have this. It's a 16K memory module for the Atari 800 computer system in the aluminum shell. So these are not, I won't say rare, but they eventually started taking these out of these shells because the memory would overheat. And you would just basically, when you started purchasing them, it was just the bare boards. So it's kind of nice to actually have this in that really steel tank-like enclosure. So that's kind of neat. I really like that, David. Thank you very much. But he also sent me, a while ago, he had sent me, let's see, Dwayne Ringo was making these little small Ataris. And he actually found an extra controller. So this is one of Dwayne Ringo's controllers for his little Atari Classic that he makes. I'll have a review on that one soon. It's Raspberry Pi based. I just haven't had a chance to do it. But that's kind of neat. He also made these little controllers out of SNES controllers to look like they were for the Atari back in the day. So that's kind of neat. David, thank you. As one of the donations from David, I'll save a little bit more towards the end of the review and show, I should say. That's really, really neat. So I'm saving that one more towards the end. So what else do we have over here? Another show donation. Now this is from my friend Steven. He runs actually ColecoVision Addict.
Because your vision is our vision. ColecoVision.
And he knew I was looking for something, and he was really kind. He found this for me. It was in pretty good shape. I just finished taking this whole thing apart and cleaning it. It wasn't too dirty. It actually was working, but I still cleaned it anyway. Again, I have a lot of NTEX things now. An NTEX Super Cobra. And I will say that NTEX does seem to way over-engineer their stuff. A lot of these other consoles, they're very simplistic. You take them apart, put them back together very easy. This thing, take it apart, it's almost like a Rubik's Cube jigsaw puzzle. It was very complex to get everything apart and get it put back together, but I did, and I'll do a review of this one soon because it's very, very clean. There's not a lot of discoloration on it. There's some scratches on it, but that's to be expected for how old this thing is. But it does work. And Stephen, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. Let's see what else we have over here. What else we got? Well, this is not so much a show donation. My father had passed away a couple of years ago, and he had a couple of things that would have gotten thrown away, and I definitely did not want these things thrown away. So I'm going to add it to the retro collection. This is actually an old Polaroid. Yes, kids, back in the day you had to use film, and this was the only way you could take a picture back in the day and get a photograph pretty much instantaneously. You had to take it out, wait a minute for it to develop. But what's neat about this one, you can see how thin it is. You actually would pop this little guy up like so, and come here and take your pictures, and it would collapse. Now it's kind of neat. This actually had a sonar to determine the autofocus back in the day. Things were so simple yet complicated back in the day. This thing did take some very good photographs, and I know today I probably still can find some Polaroid film. Maybe I will one day and do a review and take some pictures and see how it comes out. And it's got this external flash on here that clips on the top. But it's really, really neat to find one that actually, collapses down like that. And there's actually one other thing that I got from my father over here. If I can find out where I put it, because I had so many things I put down. And there it is. Okay, so this is actually very, very old. It's an old Bell and Howell movie camera. You actually had to take this out, and you would crank this crank up over here to wind a spring, and then when the spring was wound up, you would pull this down, and you would take, film. This did not record sound, so it's pretty much color or black and white only. And I'll probably do a review of this thing too. It's heavy as anything. It's definitely all steel. And I do not know if I could find film for this thing anymore. It's a reel-to-reel, but again, it's an old 8mm camera from my father, and there was no way I was going to let this thing get thrown out. It has a lot of sentimental value to me. Let's see what else we have over here. Okay, this was another $11 complete junk buy off eBay. It's a Coleco Pac-Man, but it's okay if this is junk. I'm glad that it's junk, because I can take this apart and make it into something. If you see my last video, I'm already making one of these with a screen and a laser projector coming out the back. I'm not sure what this one's going to be yet, but seeing it's in the condition that it's in, it'll be turned into something. I'm just not sure what this will end up being yet, but it will be. Let's see what else we got over here. Okay, here's something I've already done a review on. It's the My Arcade Galaga. I picked up a secondary one because in my review, if you saw the review I did before, it's nice, it plays well, but the sound is horrible. It really takes away from the game. And I wanted to make sure that the issue was not maybe the one I got was defective, had a bad speaker or something like that. So I picked up another one to test it out, and I'll do a review of that soon. But I'm going to tell you right now, no, sound still sucks. But I'll do a review and show you exactly what's going on with this, and I'll compare it to another very inexpensive NES clone that I've used before and did a review of before, where the sound is not an issue. So I don't know what they did, but they really missed the mark. This thing would have been awesome, but the sound is just, in my opinion, not good. Okay, so now David from the Atari 5200 podcast and me, we're not good together. We're two addicts that can feed off one another. He had picked up one of these iCades, and I thought, you know what? I saw one really cheap. I couldn't pass it up. This $20 shipped. I wasn't going to pass this up. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. Now, normally you would put an iPad in here. It's got Bluetooth built in, and you play some games on it. I think Atari Classics they had for this for the most part. I'm going to be doing one for David where I'm going to get a tablet working in there, but I may actually put in like a large 10-inch screen in here and actually make this a Raspberry Pi build versus throwing a tablet in here. I haven't really decided yet, but for the price point, this really was not bad. I mean, it's got good micro switches here, a lot of them. I may put a spinner in here. I don't know, but just something else I picked up and it came and doing the review. Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you as far as things I purchased are show donations. Is again from David from the Atari 5200 podcast, and this is really neat. I haven't even looked at it yet. I know what it is, but I haven't actually seen it. I have a couple of Vectrex units, and I know a lot of friends of mine got these wraps to put around the console to make it look like an arcade machine, like a Space Invaders or Moon Patrol or something. And David had sold off his Vectrex a while ago, and he found a wrap that he had and he never used. So he sent it to me here, and let's go take a look together. I'm not sure what this is going to be, so let's take a look together and check that out. It looks like it's called Vectrexians, which obviously is a Galaxian wrap, and I think that's going to look awesome on my Vectrex. So David, thank you very much. That looks really awesome. That looks great. So that's pretty much all the things I got here as far as items I purchased or show donations. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for donating to the channel. It means a lot to me, and obviously it adds to the collection. If you want to send a show donation in, please contact me first at glensretroshow@gmail.com. Now we're at the end of the show, and I promised a little tidbit on the next thing I'm working on. So I generally don't work on one project at a time. There's usually a roadblock that comes on, or something just happens where I have to stop on one project and maybe I start another one. So I'm still working on my laser projector Glennyware, but I'm also working on this. Coming soon to Glen's Retro Show is how to hack the new Data East Arcade Classics that comes with 34 real Data East Arcade ROMs to play more. You'll be able to play MAME, NES, TurboGrafx-16, Sega Genesis. I'm going to show you how to open it, how to hack the operating system, how to change the firmware, how to load ROMs onto this machine, close it back up, and set up the controls. So if you are new to my channel, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about Glen's Retro Show. Be sure to also visit Glen's Game Gurus on Facebook, the Tiny Arcade fan page, and also we have the Facebook group for the My Arcades run by Bruce Yeager. So please make sure you don't miss any episodes of Glen's Retro Show, or you can miss great things like this. We'll see you soon with this video. In the meantime, have a look and see what I've done so far. So everyone, thanks for spending some time with me this afternoon. I appreciate you watching the show. And if you did like it, please do so. Click the like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And definitely tell people about the channel. And hopefully tell some of your friends about this new thing I'm working on, the My Arcade 10-inch Super Glennyware. We will be able to run not only the original games that came with it, of which are a lot of the Data East classics, but now you can add other games and even run Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and so forth on this unit. I purchased it for about $99 because I bought it when it first came out. And nowadays you can find it anywhere from $45 to $55 on average. Some places still sell it for like $70. But if you look around, I'm sure you'll get it pretty cheap. And you see the modification is not terribly difficult. You have to take the side panel decals off, but that's not a big deal. And just a little effort. There's not really any soldering involved. Just a little effort and time, and you can make yourself your own personal arcade. So again, everyone, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Game on.
Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.
You're supposed to start.
No, you're supposed to start. You're supposed.
Oh, I thought. Dad, Ethan's here. Oh. Oh. I forgot.
Action.